Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Michaela Peters. I disappeared for a while and I don't even know what this video is going to be about yet. As usual, I'm just going to wing it. I keep saying like, oh, I'm going to go through all the pictures and then I'm going to leave a review and I'm going to talk about all these things to make this actually travel oriented. Then I also thought about I should be doing some shorts and stuff, and that would be really cool. And I think I'll get there eventually, but until like things feel a little bit less chaotic in my life, I talked about the terrible thing being all the mail that I have when I come back home. Yeah, let's look at that stack. BRB. Okay, so this is what we're dealing with this time. This is newspaper. That doesn't count, but alright, that's also newspaper. Let's get the newspaper out of the way. This is 1 month. We're dealing with this. So this doesn't happen in Finland. I get, the only mail I get to the house is bills I actually need to pay. Speaking of which, I have one that I need to pay right now. But anyway, we had a great time traveling over the holidays. I don't celebrate holidays in the traditional sense. So anyway, what that means is that I just do whatever I want. And we actually have our own family holiday next week, which is actually one of the things that I need to worry about right now. I'm going to make a note of that. Yeah, I feel very all over the place and stressed out in America. When I'm in Finland, I just feel pretty chill. The cool thing about me being stressed out all the time is I'm pretty good at hiding it and people can't usually tell, even though it's internally going on. Yeah, so traveling with the baby is awesome. I do not know what I did to deserve such a good baby, but wow. Yeah, the other reason I stopped making content for a month is in case the father is watching this. I was trying to throw him off, so I'm not really sure what that was going to do, but whatever. I just and it's not like I think he cares enough to be tracking my whereabouts, but he knows where to go if he needs to. Yeah, so maybe I started adopting a slight paranoia around that, and so I'm just gonna take a break. Yeah, so I took a break for a lot of let's say mental health reasons. Kind of true, but I was really just running out of inspiration, and so I was all right, I'm gonna take some travel time around the holidays. It's usually when you have use it or lose it vacation, so that was happening. And yeah, so I accidentally closed that. Anyway, I took the baby traveling, and she's so good with traveling. I'm really trying to figure out if, because when I was pregnant, I was on airplanes a lot, she knows how to pop her ears while sleeping. And she does the same thing I do, which is she will fall asleep during the takeoff and sometimes during the landing, but during the takeoff, which is always what happened to me. So, they're very in tune with you. She's also excellent at overcoming jet lag, gets right on schedule immediately, like I do, every single time we're in either place. That's because she's very photosensitive, as I keep saying, where it's she'll see the light and then wake up. And today she slept in a little bit longer, but then after I'd been awake for a little bit, she woke up. She's always in a good mood when she wakes up. Yeah, I don't know, I all the time I'm just I do not know what I did to get blessed with such a good baby, but from what I understand, this is unheard of. I don't understand it at all. Somebody yesterday said to me, you must have been really calm the whole time you were pregnant. No. I used to say you can never pay me enough money to go back to high school. Now I say you can never pay me enough money to go back to being pregnant. That was actually the worst experience of my life. I was not public about it on YouTube, but it was a really bad experience, not only because I don't like pregnancy. I think it's kind of gross and uncomfortable. It's a beautiful process, but I don't like it. That's fine. I don't have to. Not every woman loves being pregnant. But I think just emotionally it was very difficult, not because being pregnant is emotionally difficult, but due to the circumstances surrounding being pregnant, such as going through a pregnancy pretty much alone in every single sense of the word. I had to figure out my own housing, did all my appointments alone, literally did absolutely everything alone. And then was having a lot of pressure put on me, as usual, but more than usual. So it was bad. And every day I try to be grateful for the fact that I survived that very bad time period. So shout out to that. Anyway, so, this is all in the past now, and I feel like, I had a really hard time readjusting to coming back here after I gave birth. Coming back this time, I kind of knew what to expect. It was still a pretty hard first day, I'm not going to lie. And I have so much crap to do, but I'm going to do it. It's going to be fine. I'm going to, keep doing some travel stuff like I like. Got to figure out what that's going to look like. Because while the baby's under 2 and traveling is super cheap / free, it's free to fly domestically with a baby on your lap within the US, in case nobody knew that. So while these things are all going on, I have decided that, I'm just going to keep, as my mom calls it, jittying with the baby. So I do need to take a look at like what our travel schedule is going to look like coming up. How do I afford to travel? I stay with people, so it's usually free, and I'm just buying plane tickets. And if you just don't go out to eat in the US pretty much ever, there's your plane ticket right there. Because I had somebody ask me this recently, like, are you a millionaire? And I was like, far from it. Most people don't understand why I'm so cheap. It's simply that I just have priorities, which only include traveling, which is the whole premise of this channel, as we know. But yeah, I think that, excuse me, things are going a lot better than they were some months back. I finally feel like my executive functioning abilities have returned to my brain. Took a while for that, especially after I gave birth. When I see really small babies, I think about how bad I feel for the mom, because I think the postpartum period, like immediately postpartum, is really bad. Also, I'm finally fitting into my clothes from before I was pregnant, which makes me feel great also. So there are a lot of really good things happening right now. Aside from the fact that I felt very connected on my vacation, got to see a lot of friends, felt really happy about that. And I'm trying to think about ways that I can make my life, while I am spending time in the US, more unoptimistically would be bearable, optimistically would be enjoyable. So, I've been trying to think about like different things I want to do. Like some people have suggested mom groups. I'm thinking about it. Maybe I can review that. Just trying to get together with friends more, trying to find interest groups. I did think about joining a running club. I might actually do that. And I have so much more family support here. So like being able to go do those things independently and still have a life maybe outside of being a mom is possible. Even though I pretty much still do all the same things I did from before I was pregnant, minus the fact that I just have a baby. I actually have a pretty good friend who I travel with, and, it's a dude. So he was, like, fine with that, and fine with traveling. He hates children, so I'm really impressed that, like, this was an okay thing. Because we're planning, like, a longer trip later in the year to go to Armenia, actually, and anyway, what's my point with this? Just that, like, my point is, like, the travel thing is the same. Like, we just walk around, and that's kind of it. And then, minus the fact that I have to go to the bathroom to change the baby more often, and sometimes feed the baby. Like, maybe, and, like, is that going to change? I think when they start moving, it's a different ball game, but you also can, like, put them on leashes and stuff. I'm sure a lot of people have opinions about that. Yeah, but so travel companions, you just need somebody who's like patient and understanding enough, with the fact that you're traveling with a baby. But I don't know, like, things like could be worse. Like, I'm really trying to count my blessings every day. I said to my grandfather yesterday, I'm like, I can pay my bills and I have a place to live and I have food on the table. I'm like, so that's all you need in life. Let's really set the bar low, because when you set the bar low, anything above it is great. So that's what I'm trying to do now. I'm not saying that goes for everything, but I think in terms of just like survival, let's start there. Another fun thing, I have a friend who frequently argues with me about using AI for random stuff, but I have been using AI to analyze human behavior. Fascinating, literally fascinating. It can explain things, and I'm like, it makes sense. Sometimes I don't always agree with it, but like a lot of the times it makes some sense. Like, this person is doing this because they're feeling this. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense in this instance. And I don't actually want to share any of what this is because it's too, maybe judgmental. But sometimes it's nice talking to like a neutral third party, which is why people go to a therapist. But like instead you can just ask the computer for an analysis, which I enjoy. So I don't know, but I guess I don't know really what else to say besides traveling with the baby's super chill. People are constantly complimenting me on like how good of a baby she is. I do not know what I did. No clue. Absolutely no clue in the universe how I ended up with such a good baby. I feel so blessed. Like, I literally am so grateful to God every single day for having a chill baby. Um, yeah, so I have this Jewish friend who I studied with, and she was like, they say that God gives you the baby you need. I think maybe I've quoted this before. I think about this a lot these days. And, somebody said to me, like, this baby's so chill, you must be doing a good job. I don't know if I'm really doing a good job, but, like, and I still don't even understand how this happened, because I am so not chill, and, like, the dad is so not chill. Like, how is this baby so chill? Like, I guess it's just, like, I asked AI also, and it's like, a lot of it comes down to like temperament, and it's like you can have chill parents. It doesn't mean the kid's going to be chill, and sometimes like the first baby's chill and the second baby's not chill. Happened to one of my friends. I guess it can work in reverse too. But yeah, so things are like fine. I can afford to live, and because I'm living independently, I'm not being scrutinized for like every single thing I do, except for the fact that my house is a mess, according to my mom, which I'm working on it. But it's not like it's the most important thing in life. I think the most important thing in life is being happy. No, I think the most important thing in life is being content, right? Which is not the same thing as happiness. It's just appreciating what you have, chilling, and just being like, things are going to work themselves out. I believe in the universe and blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, another thing that I don't know if I've talked about this on here, but I think this is an interesting thing that I had thought about kind of recently, is one of the issues I had when I first moved to Finland was like somehow only interacting with people who were atheists. This was like a lot of people. Makes sense, it's Europe. Although the ironic part is only 33% of these people were European, and they're like, yeah, God doesn't exist. Okay, cool. That's your opinion. So one time the one European said to me, how would your life change if you stopped believing in God? And I was like, I think about God every single day. I really do, though. And, I'm like, I pray to God every day. Like, yeah, I talk to God. Like, and so, I don't know. What's my point with this? No, like, when I'm saying, like, I am grateful to God every single day for having a chill baby, like, I mean that, like, legitimately. I'm not just saying that. So, yeah, gratitude is important. I guess that's the point of this. So, if you want to, like, feel better, I guess, somebody who told me about this exercise, I don't remember, but I told my friend this recently. Take a piece of paper, draw a circle. In the circle, write down all the things in your control. Out of the circle, write down all the things out of your control, and focus on the things in the circle. So right now, I think I'm trying to focus on the things in the circle. I'm trying to take more accountability for my actions, for how I'm feeling, whatever. I'm trying to figure out what things make me feel good, what things make me feel bad, how to follow through on the things that make me feel good, and try to, like, put a little bit of a boundary with the things that make me feel bad. And that's what I'm working on now. And things right now are sustainable in the moment. The only thing that is constant is change. Things will change. I don't know exactly what everything is going to look like. Again, just planning travel for the year. It's my hobby. Most important hobby, may I add. And, we'll see what that's going to look like. I think when I was in Finland, I was drinking, like, way too much caffeine. And now I'm, like, feeling super, like, having a headache all the time because I'm having, like, a caffeine deficit. So, yeah. But yes, so basically I'm just chilling. I'm gonna do more of a review on like how the travel actually went and the places I went, in my opinion, on like where is a good place to travel with a baby, where is a bad place to travel with a baby, because now that I've taken the baby to 4 countries, I kind of have an opinion about that. And what airports I think are good to travel with the baby and which ones I think are bad to travel with the baby. That's actually a very interesting topic. So, I think, at least. So, I think that's going to be everything for the day. I just kind of felt like sharing that, things are going well. They weren't for some time, which is why I took a break. I just didn't want to put all that negativity into the universe, Yeah, but, like, I think things will go in a better direction. at some point. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like. I guess things improve. I guess you make more money eventually or something, or have more money. I guess you can get a pet. I really want to get another dog, but I'm trying to wait 5 years until, like, the baby can appreciate it more. And you do things you like, and you find hobbies, and you find meaning and purpose outside of just surviving. And that's where I'm trying to get to. I'm trying to get back up to the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like, to the self-actualization part and away from the survival part, because, like, we realistically do have all our needs met right now, and it's chill. So anyway, I didn't die. I'm very grateful for the experiences I've had recently. They've really put me in a much better position. I'd like to reflect on them some more, but much better mental position, I mean. And I want to talk about traveling with a baby and stuff, and, like, what that's like. And again, is it really practical for everybody, considering that most people don't have a baby so chill? Don't know, but also, like, I'm so used to traveling. It's like, I would say traveling with a baby is traveling on slightly hard mode, except that is a complete lie, because traveling with a baby in some ways is so much easier, because you get to board the airplane first. You get to use a stroller in the airport. That takes a load off your back. Like, sometimes you get to cut lines for things. Like, honestly, traveling with a baby, I think sometimes is easier, and people are nicer to you. It's great. Really. I would highly recommend it. I think everybody should travel with a baby. But most people don't really want to do anything with a baby, but I just act like my life is the same, except that I casually have a baby. I remember one time I was at a work thingy, and, well, not exactly. I was at a bar with somebody from work. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so this random guy was like, this was before I started the YouTube channel, and I was like, yeah, I used to work at NASA, and, like, yeah, I do a PhD, and, like, I work and stuff. And he's like, you've done some very amazing things, and, like, I don't think you understand how amazing they are. And I'm like, and he's like, you just talk about this all so casually, like, none of it's hard. And I'm like, so, yeah, maybe there's some truth to that. Like, I just think, like, anything is doable. But I think he made a good point where he's like, well, yeah, the whole thing is, like, if you keep doing the same thing and doing something harder and harder, eventually you build tolerance. So, like, I joke that, like, the reason the baby is chill is because I was so stressed out when I'm pregnant. The baby was just born with super high immunity to stress. Maybe I just have super high immunity to stress at this point, and I'm just transferring that skill onto the baby. Don't know. But either way, having a baby is super cool. I think it is the most, like, pleasurable, enjoyable experience I've ever had. Like, looking at your baby's face, it's just so much dopamine. Like, I can't even explain it. Like, I'm just so happy seeing the cuteness of my baby. So, like, if you think about, like, humans are super almost, like, innately designed to have kids, right? This is how, like, the human race survives. So I think that, it's great. I really, like, I have no words. I don't have enough words to express how great of an experience this has been and how appreciative I am to even have this experience. So even though it's not ideal, as usual, as I'm saying, and I didn't really want to be in this exact situation, I'm still trying to be happy for the situation, in spite of the fact that it's a tough situation. Okay, well, I'm gonna go do more productive things, like try to make my house not a chaotic disarray, but I just felt like, ranting about, like, how great my life is. I'm trying to be positive, really. That's what I am doing. And then I gotta go through this mail. I don't want to do that. It's like, I'll tell you, that's the thing I never want to do. Yeah, and that's everything. Well, thank you for your time and attention today. And I don't know, if you have ideas for videos, let me know, I guess. I'm surprised that I disappeared for like a month and my subscriber count barely went down. So that means I really have a loyal fan base. I'm also trying to think about like new things to do with the YouTube channel. Like, I guess I have some sort of weird online community. So I'm like, should I try to do like, like virtual meet and greets where like my fans can also talk to each other? But then one of my friends told me that might not work well because everybody just wants to talk to me. But I assume that I attract like a certain kind of person, and maybe this certain kind of person would get along with each other. So that was kind of why I was like, maybe I could create this like online fan base where it's like the fans can talk to each other, and then maybe like people could become friends and stuff. And that would be cool. So like I could drive some sort of like connection, and like that, I think that would be like very purposeful, and I think I would feel good about that. So that's another thought I'm having. But yeah, again, I think I just got like self-conscious for a minute, and now I'm like back to like whatever. I don't care anymore. It's cool. All right, well, until next time, bye.